Hello and welcome back to the Ecuador Insider Podcast. Jesse, Brandon, pleased to be with you. I want to say pleased to meet you. pleased to be with you on a spectacular Thursday afternoon.
It is, dude. Look at this.
It is lovely.
It's quite lovely. Peaceful.
Where I live right now is up high.
Yeah?
I'm up probably 6,300 feet, something like that.
Okay. It's a good
So
1,000
it's cooler.
plus more than here.
Yeah, it's cooler, especially we're in May now, so we're kind of in the changeover where it gets slightly cooler, particularly at night.
Yeah.
And you get a little more wind. So I really appreciate these days more than normal. But this is for me is always the weather that I really love.
It's great weather. Yeah. I like the cool nights, man.
Yeah, most people do.
Yeah, you don't like the cool night?
No, I just like heat.
Even at night?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. Now I'm very abnormal with my weather preferences. Like I'm good. Like 100 degrees and humid for me is fine.
Yeah, no thanks.
I have no issues with
that. Yeah, I mean, I'd prefer not.
Although it's funny, I actually noticed, I've lived here long enough where we don't have a lot of humidity, at least compared to where I come from.
Yeah.
That I've noticed when I go back home, the humidity bothers me a little bit now, where it didn't before at all.
I was wondering that when we went back this summer, and there was some really humid days. And I don't know if it's the humidity or the barometric pressure or something. Yeah. There's something there that during those times or in that geographic location that gives me mild headaches, chemtrails. I don't know.
Or all the EMFs.
All the EMF. It could be any of that stuff. But I noticed it when there was definitely humidity, and I remember looking into it briefly, and I thought it made more sense about barometric pressure than humidity.
I think those are probably related, no?
Probably,
I'm speculating here, but I've noticed that when the atmosphere is lower, which probably means there's more barometric pressure, although I couldn't define barometric pressure, it tends to be way more humid.
Right.
And I was actually having this conversation with Ide the other day, because a lot of times it's when the atmosphere is low, I feel pressure. It makes me I feel pressure. And then it usually can be humid. And then if it rains, if the skies open up and rain, then it just clears everything.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh. And but when it's high and dry, like today, when it's high and dry, I almost automatically feel good.
Yeah, I feel good too. Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Makes me not want to take a nap in the middle of the day.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah?
I'm glad you're not sleepy.
I am not sleepy. I am very, I don't know. I feel good, man.
You got a pep in your step?
I have a little pep, man. A little bit of pep. I mean, I could understand if considering everything that we just discussed, and you should be peppy based on all that. I can understand.
I should be peppy?
Yeah, because it's high and dry, bro. Look at it. It's warm. It's nice.
Yep.
Should feel great, but you did watch your Knicks last night.
Bro. I don't, I care orders of magnitude less about my sports teams than I used to. Mm-hmm. That being said, one of the worst losses I've ever experienced as a sports fan in terms of just how bad the loss was. Yeah. Not in terms of how much it mattered to me, although sometimes it matters more than I think it will.
Yeah, yeah.
I was pretty pissed last night.
Yeah, dude. I didn't watch the whole game, but I kept checking in. And I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah, and then they rocked them at the end. The Knicks rocked them at the end, and then, they had it.
Right.
Yeah, so that happened.
Yeah, that was something, man.
At least the Mets salvaged the series in Boston.
Yeah.
Won.
Right. And, Juan Soto, the narrative on him, that's run around, he's cracking under the pressure and the contract and all. Dude, I looked under the hood on him.
He's hitting it hard. He's in the ball hard.
Dude, Juan Soto's going to be fine.
Because his swing looks a little funny to me. It's he's...
Oh, I haven't watched him, actually, so I don't know. If there's something different about his swing, that's different.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's different because I haven't watched him a ton. But, just watching him this year, he seems like he's out in front of everything. It's he's got that swing, which is where all his power comes from, where it's really an uncurling.
Yeah.
And it just seems like he's uncurling, and then it's if he's going to go to center or left at all, it's it's just by leaving the bat out, almost behind everything else, which is already out there.
Yeah, so it's just timing, yeah.
But I'm sure people want to hear more about Juan Soto and the Mets.
Dude.
Oh,
He's one of the greatest hitters I've ever seen.
I went to, I'm not talking about that anymore. I went to pick up my dad and my stepmom. I went to go pick up my dad and my stepmom at the airport yesterday in Catamayo. Why?
Yeah.
Well, because they're visiting.
Oh, yes.
So I didn't want them to walk.
Yes.
I figured I wouldn't send a taxi.
That's good. It's nice of you.
Yeah. And I ended up taking my 2 sons with me, which actually went as smooth as it possibly could have. But it was cool. We got out to the airport, and Jacob really wanted to see an airplane taking off. Because at an airport of that size, which is tiny, there's 2 flights a day, or 2 flights in, 2 flights out a day, you can be very close.
Yeah. And the takeoff is awesome.
Right. So we actually, they got there, and we were just hanging out for a few minutes, and then Jacob was hungry, Jojo was passed out, and so Jacob was eating, and then because we took so long, the plane was going to take off, so he got to... Kids are master manifestors. Have you ever just observed children and see how they'll say something that they want, and then somehow it'll just happen. I've watched this so much that I'm just I stopped getting in the way. I stopped telling them no. Jacob's I want to hike a volcano and da-da-da-da. I'm like, sounds good, buddy. I'm sure you'll be able to.
Right. Yes.
But the airport, it's hilarious, right? Everything out here is hilarious. But, Catamayo Airport, which is awesome to have, is, the takeoff is very funny because there's mountains all around it.
Yeah.
And the reason the airport's in Catamayo is because the valley's very large and flat. It's mostly sugarcane, very flat. Mm-hmm. So they built Aloha Airport there for that reason. But still, you got to go
Yeah, you're coming out, and then you have to literally do, I think it's a 180-degree turn.
Probably.
Around that mountain, right, yeah. Yeah, it's wild to watch that take off.
I've heard from people that were, been here longer than I have before that, or locals, I should say, before that airport was built, there was another one that was much hairier. Apparently, you'd come over the mountain and then you just just drop.
Yeah.
But you don't feel that at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah. But it is kind of funny that you're in this airport. They were burning sugarcane yesterday, or burning something when I was out there. So all around the airport it's smoky, and there's sugar. You're in the middle of sugarcane fields basically,
right.
And then there's just this little airport.
Yeah, sugarcanes and bananas, right?
Yeah.
Is there bananas there? Yeah, there's some bananas. Yeah, I guess it's mostly sugarcane. Yeah. Yeah, and it's when you're taking off, you don't realize, you have to see it. If you don't watch it, you don't realize how. What the hell? Kind of the actual turn is when you're in the plane.
No,
you don't perceive it the same way when you're watching and you're like, whoa, yeah, that's crazy. They designed it this way.
Yeah. It starts to make a little more sense why they don't fly if it's too hot. Yeah. Or it's too windy, or they have too much weight, or whatever. They're like, because they have to get some altitude pretty quickly.
Right, or if there's no lights, and because if they can't see soon enough, and they're just a little bit late landing, it's not. Everybody's dead.
Juicing some sugar cane.
Right. Wow. Yeah. No, that's a good. We should video that. We should video the plane. I wonder how it would come if it's wide angle enough.
This stupid which, by the way, it blows me away. I remember seeing an episode of that show that you mentioned the other day. Was it Dark Mirror? Mirror?
Black Mirror?
Black Mirror? Yeah. I remember seeing years ago. I don't know how old that show is, but this would have been maybe the first season or something.
It's got to be a decade old.
Yeah, something like that, right. I remember seeing this episode of where they had... I don't remember if it was glasses or was just implanted in the eye, but they had this thing where it was recording all the time, and then you could run it back. So if you had a dispute of what someone said, you could just check, and it could project.
Instant replay.
Yeah, it's like instant replay. It could project and everything. And now I'm seeing these commercials because I don't watch TV, but I've been watching the Knicks in the playoffs on one of those bootleg channels, so they're showing the commercial. It's the first time I've seen commercials in a very, very long time. And I see them advertising for, what is it? I think it's Apple. It's like Apple glasses
Yeah.
that are doing exactly what
it's nuts,
like
dude.
exactly. They're like pressing and they're like, tell me about such and so. I don't know. I was bringing that up just because we should be filming, much more here than we are just to show what it's like here, but not with those glasses.
No, not those. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. See, that's one of those things though too. Those are probably so cool.
Of course,
like,
of course,
so cool.
No, and the whole like double-tiered society idea, which they've also showed in movies a million times, is it's quickly approaching.
Yeah.
It's like it's the trappings of the Matrix. It's like
right.
Get ahead.
right. Yeah.
Don't get left behind.
Right, and that's kind of we talked about earlier, which will be later, when we were talking about, being your authentic self, being yourself. How do you do that? Well, you got to define your values first, right? Or that's a way to help you get to be yourself or be the person you want to be, because you can be whoever you want to be, right? So finding your values and what you value, do you value the Prada bag? Do you value the new Beamer? Do you value? Yeah, I mean, everybody likes nice stuff, I think. Most people do. Most people would much rather drive a brand new Range Rover than a, 1952, beat up,
Yeah.
But.
Which there's nothing wrong with any of that.
There's nothing wrong with it, right? It's just, what do you value? Like, what's the trade? What are you willing to trade for that stuff? And sometimes it's, the trade has unintended consequences, and there's collateral damage that you don't identify, and there's opportunity costs, and
all of that
stuff, man. So it's, and that also kind of goes back to, what we talked about this a little bit with, perception and perspective, right? So, like, your perception is more in the moment. What are you perceiving in the moment, in the present? And the perspective is more, that's the more like spiritual, the bigger picture, that piece. So, neither are bad or good, but you could set yourself up for failure just worrying about other people's perception,
Oh yeah.
And
that's one of the big programs running on Earth. Is like everybody, myself included, worrying about what other people perceive, think, don't think,
right. Which is wild because that's the superficial layer, perception is the superficial layer, perspective is the spiritual deep layer, and I think we confuse those. Do you not, does that not, you don't think?
Perception versus perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't define them that way, but I understand the point you're making.
Yeah. What? You created your own definitions? Okay.
Well, no, just in terms
when are you going to dye your beard blue?
One being, right. Sorry, I almost missed that one. That was good. Thursday. No, just in terms of one being like more shallow or versus this deeper spiritual, I don't know. But
well, not superficial. If you put a negative connotation, like superficial doesn't have to be negative.
Sure. Just, I don't know.
Okay.
Agreed.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a vibe. Like what this place is a vibe.
Yeah.
At the end of, which everything, really at the end of the day, everything's a vibe. But if you want to define it that way. But at the end of the day, what this place is a vibe. And so, it's only going to appeal to you, like this vibe is only going to appeal to you based on where you're at in the stuff that you just brought up. Right? So it's like, how do you, and you were saying this too, like how do you define things, life, yourself, goals, ambitions, success, quality of life, how do you define all of those things? And then it's just like the world, and not just this place, but like the world then opens up to you based on that.
Yeah.
So like frequencies, vibes, places, experiences, etc.
Well, what's vibe short for, Jesse?
Are right. Good point. don't. But then I'm gonna lose my train of thought. Are all available to you, based on you, like based on where you're at. Yeah. So we've seen people, you and I even have seen people, come here who just weren't ready or interested in in this vibe, like in what is offered here. Right. They're not gonna connect with the nature. They're not gonna connect with the rivers. They're not gonna connect with the mountains. They're not gonna enjoy the sort of free-spirited, crazy, people that are here that are kind of like living the way they think they should live, which is in all kinds of different ways. Yep. But there's a common theme of like the way they think they should live, as opposed to the way society defines the way people should live.
100%.
And a lot of people come here and they just look at that. It almost doesn't even register.
Right.
It's like, it's just, let me check my email. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Taking this quick break to remind you, we run Vilcabamba lifestyle retreats. If you're interested in checking out this area, hanging out with us, getting all the information you could possibly want, and having a great time, check out the links below. Thanks so much. Back to the program,
Right.
And that's completely cool and completely fine. But it's like, right, that's what's here, right? Like that's what's here is that opportunity. If you're into that, like if that is what you're looking for, if that is your vibe, if that is your frequency, if that is who you are or who you're striving to become, which that can be difficult, but
that's the fun part.
It's the challenging and fun part.
Yeah. Life would be boring. Be boring if you didn't have that.
Yeah, but I mean, people on Earth go through a shit ton of suffering, and that's okay in my view as well. But it's not always. It doesn't always feel fun.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and that's kind of why I always say this place isn't for most people.
Right.
Not from the perspective that it can't be. Like most people can't thrive or be here. It's just at what the timing. The timing on where they're at. In this lifetime, right now, in this reality, where are they? That determines whether they can. And based on the people that I see and the experiences and my observations, that's why most people aren't ready for that. Most people aren't.
Right.
Especially most people from where we come from, like because they're in that system, they're in that, they're keeping up with the Joneses, they're in that matrix, in that. And they're experiencing though. They're starting to see, hey, my insurance why did my insurance go up $1,300? Why did my property taxes go up? Why is this going up? Why, what the hell? Like, how am I ever what income am I gonna have to maintain, to retire and still, even though I own my house, to afford my property taxes, all those things. Not that they're new concepts for anybody or things that most of these guys and girls have not thought about before, but it's just becoming more real, more like, holy crap.
I do think the veil is being lifted in all kinds of ways, and people are having to confront themselves, in a different way, perhaps, than previously, at least in a more sort of compacted timeline for a lot of people. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting, you were talking a minute ago about, authenticity and all that stuff, and it's like, it's all just based on perspective, it's all just based on like how the eyes you see through, because, and then that's controlled by other things, right? It's like, it's very hard to gain perspective while you're in something. So if you're, you mentioned a minute ago, like if you're in that place or that culture or whatever, right? It's like, it's very hard to gain perspective while you're in something. Like you kind of, I like that scene in The Matrix where, where it's a metaphor for, an awakening where, he wakes up out of the tank and like pulls the thing out and like opens his eyes. And it's very, you can have moments where you just kind of realize like, I don't know what it is, but this is not for me. You can have those kinds of moments, and then that'll make you look for something like maybe this has or other things have, But it is hard to gain that perspective without actually experiencing and seeing, what else there is. Like I didn't know. Like this is very, this is gonna expose my ignorance here, but I thought, like, I hadn't done really any traveling in Latin America. The first time I traveled in Latin America in my life was probably 2006 or something like that. I went to Venezuela, where my ex-wife was from. I thought the images in my head were Mexico. I thought it was gonna be like Mexico. I thought there was gonna be like people that I had the stereotype of looked like Mexicans, and that were eating like tacos and burritos. Like, that was my level of knowledge at that time.
I think that's what most people think about all of South America.
Right, maybe, I don't know.
No, I mean,
certainly was mine at that time.
Most people I talk to think even Ecuador it's just they're other Mexicans. You know, like.
Right, and so it's like, what do how if you go somewhere new like that, and you come from wherever you come from, and you have all the beliefs and cultural understandings and blah blah blah, man, like, it's gonna take, you're not even gonna know what you don't know. Like, it's gonna take you many years just to have like some shift happen where you start to understand things from a different perspective and look at things from a different perspective. Now for me, being 12 plus years in to living here, I'm now just kind of starting to really incorporate some of the good things that I really like, which are most of the things, but like some of the good things I really like about the way people's perspectives are here, and the way people go about living their life, and the way that they understand the world here, it's almost polar opposite to the U.S. type culture, in terms of what people's values are, how they approach life, how they look at decision making, how they treat outcomes and what it means to them, how they define themselves in terms of success. Those things here are not similar. Like, they're not similar to the culture I come from, and adjusting that, like, you've adjusted to that much easier than I did, and much more quickly. But like, adjusting to that is not a small task necessarily, depending on like what perspective you come from. But
yeah, see, I like you're using the word perspective appropriately. Well, see, you do know the right definitions. You've been seriously, you have, like, you're using it in the way I was intending to define it earlier, right? Where perception is more like the momentary, that could, ego navigation, and the perspective is, what you're talking about, the spiritual guided. I don't even know how to. It's like if we both or Fernando throws up, right? Just yaks all over your computer. And you're like, what the fuck, Fernando? Didn't you throw up on the floor? Why'd you throw up on my computer? And you're like, dude, why did you get sick? And that's your perspective. He got sick, he threw up, and my perspective was, no, he's just cleansing.
Right.
Exactly. He's just purifying it, Yeah. So I don't know. But that's kind of like I think you have the definition, and you argued with me on it, and then you used it like 17 times in a row, is the way I define, so.
Okay, well, I'm glad you feel validated in my perception of that word.
Well, I just didn't know if you were. No, it wasn't your perception of the word.
Sorry.
Maybe it was. Okay.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
What was something there?
People adapting here.
Yeah.
That piece. I think people are starting. You're seeing more people, on different levels back in the States. And I'm just in the group of friends I still talk to. Like, one of the comments I got was just yesterday, I'm on a group thread, was, I'm starting to think more like Brandon on this.
Yeah.
That all these guys aren't really enemies.
What referring to?
I'm talking about politics.
Yeah.
Right, because it's still like that level. Like, that level is so polarizing and so like popular narrative discussion points in the world at a certain level. So I'm starting to think that they're all working for the same outcomes, kind of thing.
In the conspiratorial sense, or just in or in a spiritual high?
No,
high
not that level.
sense,
Like they're not. This is like this reality 3D level.
Yeah.
Right?
But working for the same outcome, you mean conspiratorially, like they're all on one team. Is that what you mean?
Yes. Yeah. Just like.
And on one level, of course, that's true.
Right. It's just like the false dichotomy, and then somebody said, "Oh, false dichotomy is everywhere." They would have never used those terms.
That's evidence of the awakening.
Right.
That's evidence of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So and you're seeing some of that stuff. The difference though is I'm not seeing a difference in action. Like there's a different, and maybe that's where it starts with the spoken word.
I was gonna say, doesn't that come at the end? The action?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's the end or the beginning.
The action. Well, okay, sure. It's all a loop. It's all a circle.
But maybe that's it. Maybe it's just the fact that it's being spoken more.
Yeah, I mean, there's the action causes the thought / process, which then causes the action, which then it's like that's the never-ending cycle. But in terms of so there's like exterior, which there's nothing actually exterior, but perceived exterior actions, which then have caused these guys that you're talking about to perspectives to shift a bit, which then can or will, and actually will, no matter what, one way or the other. Mm-hmm. It could lead to doubling down also, but will lead to a shift in a change in behavior, change in action.
Right. And that's kind of, you're seeing the narrative. We talked in the earlier, but it'll be later again about just some of the, the credit downgrade. Was that in the episode or was that in the post?
I don't know. We talked about that today.
But you're seeing people talk about that more. Stuff that 20 years ago, 18 years ago, nobody was talking about this kind of stuff at this level. And now, like your taxi driver is talking about this stuff. Anybody you meet has an opinion about the markets, the credit markets. They're way more educated, or at least have an awareness to it. Where 20 years ago, nobody even knew what a collateralized debt obligation was. Yet that was one of the biggest reasons for the the subprime crisis. But nobody had a clue what that was, right?
Until they made a movie about it.
And now they made a movie about it, right? And now, right, yeah. So, but even now, like people, it's weaponized now, though. So because information flows so quickly, and maybe it always has, but now it's flowing, in a condensed format, I would say, maybe now with social media, that people are getting these opinions about stuff like, this isn't this money says it's not sustainable. This debt isn't sustainable, and it's like,
welcome to the party.
Right. Well, it hasn't been for a long time, but the point is that it is. The evidence is that it has been sustainable
in some way. Yeah.
In some way, right?
I mean, plenty of currencies around the world have collapsed.
Sure,
also, but,
sure.
Yeah.
The difference, though, is that nobody has been this entrenched and this globalized and impactful in so many other, where the damage was acute before. Now the damage would be widespread, catastrophic, right? So that kind of goes back to why, they've been running a quantum financial system since I was auditing banks. They're going to want to transition into that, right? If they blow the system up, everybody loses. Nobody wants the party to end, right? Nobody, from that perspective. So transition to the tokenized everything, That's why, this is another, I don't know if it's incongruent, take on Trump and the administration. It's been, the whole narrative has been he's pro-crypto, slash regulation. They're, the SEC is getting beat. Like Richard Hart beat the SEC. Things that have never done, like major positive crypto news. And then I saw the Genius Act. It achieved cloture and they're going to go to the floor for Senate voting in sometime soon. So the Genius Act is regulating stablecoins, meaning that it has to be, at least the way it was currently written, was it has to be backed 1-for-1 by the US dollar or treasury bills, and they'll be regulated, and you have to beat all these policies and blah, 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 blah. So in order to be a legal stablecoin in the market, like, it's like, this is the epitome. This is like the antithesis, like against decentralized crypto.
Well, right, against that, yeah.
But that's what crypto is, right? That's the...
Yeah. I mean,
so you have on...
Not from the mainstream.
Right, but see, that's the thing, right? So right. So here's the narrative. Here's the narrative. Pro-crypto, everything's, blah, blah, blah. But now this thing that nobody's going to understand, we're going to put this in place.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of the pro-crypto crowd. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Taking this quick break to remind you, we run Vilcabamba lifestyle retreats. If you're interested in checking out this area, hanging out with us, getting all the information you could possibly want, and having a great time, check out the links below. Thanks so much. Back to the program. Crowd is very much looking forward to the regulation because it gives credibility is the wrong word, but it validates, there's a word I can't think of that, the whole thing. So
yeah, but we've already been past that. We're past that phase. Like on the adoption curve, like the richest man in the world's already bought it and everybody knows about Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, but I mean
there's exchange traded funds. There's you can I think you can stake crypto within your JP Morgan Chase account, your Charles Schwab, like
it's pretty mainstream.
You can trade it. Everybody and their mother can trade it on Robinhood. Like, I don't know that we need that. I don't know.
No, I'm not making the argument.
I'm not either. I just don't know like how many people are really waiting for it because they want to be told that it's safe.
No. Right. So even that, right? Yeah. So that's even a goal of crypto bulls, so to speak, right? Because maybe that doesn't even bring in another flood or anything.
Yeah, well, in general, sure. Like the people that use crypto or that own crypto, it's probably a fraction of the world's population.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So from a total addressable market, there's huge growth opportunities for that.
Of course.
With the regulation they're talking about with the Genius Act, though, this is like the devil's in the details kind of stuff. Like, man.
Yeah, but again, like, well, what did people think?
Well, right. Well, that's kind of my point.
Yeah.
People thought, no, look, it's...
Did they? Maybe they
Well,
did.
sure. Like, look what he's doing. Oh, he's pro-crypto, crypto capital of the world. And, that was in his...
Yeah, but I don't think those things are mutually exclusive at all.
Well, then you're discounting the understanding of
those folks.
Of those folks.
Yeah, well, they were wrong to begin with.
Maybe. Yeah.
Like, I never would have agreed with that.
Yeah, no, agreed.
You either.
Of course, right. No. And I don't like it. I don't think this is like a choice point thing. This is like more clear, dude, they're enslaving people again, and they're going to get them to say yes, put the handcuffs on me. That's...
Maybe. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's the logical next step, period, no matter what, end of story.
It is.
Like, there isn't another,
Yeah. Well, that's why I would say that this is different from other currencies. Because they can just, we're at the end of the road, so to speak, which is the beginning of the next turn on the same road.
Yeah.
And it doesn't result in Zimbabwe, or Germany inflate,
Yeah, that's your perspective. I agree currently, yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the lessons in all this stuff is like, again, it's like, okay, we're on Earth, we're humans, we have a finite amount of time here in this body. And so, well, what are we spending our time and effort and energy doing? Certainly, I think it's fun and can be valuable and even rewarding and can help people and stuff to, to do stuff on Earth. It's not like, I don't think we should all necessarily just be sitting around on the top of a mountain, working on our posture. But although that can be good too.
Can be good.
But but there's useful endeavors as a human being on Earth, particularly if you have a mission, if you have a sort of a mission. That being said, it's very easy to get caught up in building castles in the sand, right? Which is basically what we're doing on Earth. It's like it's all temporary. We die, and then we're not experiencing the results of whatever we did in the body on Earth anymore.
Yep.
So like, okay, goes back to priorities. Like what is important?
Values.
What do I want to spend values, right?
Yeah.
What do I want to spend my time working on, doing, being, all that kind of stuff. And I think, with the crypto stuff and kind of all of that, like, I think, one of the big lessons, like one big trap I see for a lot of people that are into crypto, right, is I see this trap for people that are into crypto, for people that are into Trump, for people that are into like lots of different things. But it's like one of the big traps is like, this will solve everything.
Right.
It's like, oh,
finally.
Yeah, right. Like, we've solved it. We have the perfect president, or we have this currency that solves slavery and solves the oversight and solves the Big Brother stuff and solves the tax, even the debt-based currency. Phenomenon and so on and so forth. And like there may be some truths to all of that, some amount of truth to all of that. But like one of the big traps I see is it can stop people from understanding that the only thing that matters to each individual in their life and that's under their control is themselves. It's like, so, if you're relying on Trump to solve stuff in your life, good luck.
Yeah.
Same thing with crypto. And like a lot of crypto people, and I'm not hating or like talking bad about this in any way whatsoever. But like a lot of crypto people, much of their life is spent like on the computer tracking crypto or whatever, trading crypto, doing whatever they're doing with crypto. Talk about a trap. Talk about a trap. Or for other people, their life is spent either loving or hating Trump. Talk about a trap.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think a lot of things just need to be put in their place. It's like Trump has an interesting role. He's an interesting president. Love him or hate him, like there's interesting stuff going on.
Fascinating.
Crypto has an interesting role. It's an interesting time. Whatever your perspective
also
is.
Fascinating.
Also fascinating. But it like those things have to stay in their place. At the end of the day, when we're talking about not even currency, like when we're talking about wealth, or not even wealth either, like when we're talking about just the flow of resources in your life. That's really what it is. We're talking about the flow of resources in your life. That's up to you as the individual. Like you create that.
Right.
Trump doesn't create that. The crypto doesn't create that. Other people don't create that. Like it's you that creates that, or doesn't, experiences that, or doesn't experience that, or does what's, is in the right framework to experience lots of flow in or not, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's
Yeah, and that's kind of like, you talked about with the only thing you can control is you to some extent, and even that's hard sometimes. Like, we both...
Well, that's a very difficult challenge.
Right,
yeah.
right. That's maybe the most difficult,
yeah.
right? And so, but you do have free will, right? So you have control on some of that. So really taking the time to identify your passions, your values, and really line those out, write those down, speak those, like really make those real. Then it's like, it's like nobody can tell you you're wrong after that, right? These are my values, these are my passions, and I want to live them, and this is my life, and I'm going to do that, right? So the hard part is, I think, well, there's many hard parts, but one of the biggest parts of the, living in the matrix and living where we came from, is that there's so much fear built into the day to day.
Yes.
And that touches on everything we talked about with World War this and geopolitical this and bombing this and terrorist attack and financial collapse and all this stuff. It's all this fear-based stuff. And it reminds me back to, you remember Jim Rohn,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So he's made a comment that just stuck with me, partly because I love baseball, but you know that essentially you could choose that world. You can choose, and it's true. You'd be telling the truth. There is risk everywhere.
Right.
Everything is risky. Everything is risky, but you'll never get to second base with your feet still on first base.
Right.
You know, just like I just got goosebumps just from that, right? Like, because that's so true. Yeah, there's risk. You can get hit by a car leaving your house. You can fall down the stairs and die. Like your life's over.
Eventually you will die.
And eventually you will die,
no
matter what, right? In this body, right?
You can't safe yourself into eternal life.
Right. So do you want to take risks? Living someone else's dream, living someone else's plan, living someone else's values? Because unless you define your values and your passions and your vision and execute it, you're living someone else's.
Right. It's true.
Okay. So they both carry risk. The risks both are, I would say, not defining your values, not defining your passions and executing them, at least attempting to, is less risky than living someone else's, you know?
Yeah, of course.
The alternative is way more risky.
Of course.
And very, you know...
In a spiritual sense also.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, spiritually, the unintended consequences are catastrophic, yeah.
Yeah, or at least make the road potentially... all roads lead to Rome, but some can be long and winding and difficult.
Yeah, speaking of Rome, the Pope from Chicago. First American Pope from Chicago. You saw he did like a, what is that called? A mission in Peru for like 20 years or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But it's interesting because there's all those prophecies or stories or myths about the last Pope and all that stuff, and now it happens to be the first Pope from America. He's from Chicago. So there's those like personal connections, and then he did this 20-year stint in Peru, and then you have, you have that huge, shipping port, speed port that they just, opened in, just north of Lima. Yeah. It's cutting, I think it was like 15.
Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Taking this quick break to remind you, we run Vilcabamba lifestyle retreats. If you're interested in checking out this area, hanging out with us, getting all the information you could possibly want, and having a great time, check out the links below. Thanks so much. Back to the program. Cartels can move down there.
20 days, right. Well, are the cartels sending any drugs to China though?
Probably not.
Yeah.
They got their own drugs.
Right, that's the speed route to China and back and from China. So that,
Damn it.
Yeah. But that thing is cutting like, I want to say it was like 35 days was the normal, and it's down to like 15 or 20 days. That's pretty significant.
I want to go back to authenticity for a second. So I like this idea, right? I heard someone talking about this the other day. I really like this idea. I don't think I've been, a lot of people I'm sure have saying this, but this I was thinking for a while, but I don't think, we're in the information age anymore.
Okay.
In that way, I think AI has made information free and accessible to everyone.
Sure.
So,
the internet did really.
The internet really did, in some ways, but there was still a lot of barriers in terms of knowing how to use it and finding and you now have with AI, you now have the capacity of everyone's brains and consciousness at your fingertips. Yeah. Everyone does. Well, so I can create something that I have no capacity to create from my own capacity through AI, right? I can say, draw on the expertise of Jim Rohn and write me a book on the law of attraction, that can be a bestseller. Yeah. And you can, boom, right? So I think it's different in that way. But anyways, agreed that the internet changed that dramatically as well, or maybe even more so, or as much. Who knows? Yeah. But we're not, I don't think we're really in the information age anymore. I don't think paying for information at this point is becoming more and more obsolete. Your information is becoming more and more free, essentially, and available.
Which is a double-edged sword, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
what I think, is sort of the currency, and this is what this person was talking about that I was listening to, which actually was Robert Edward Grant. It was fantastic. But, it's like the currency, I think, in sort of where we're headed is authenticity. Yeah. It's authenticity. It's like that human being free enough and in touch with themselves enough that they can be authentic and give their gift to the world.
Yeah.
And that's, that's cool. Like that's, and it, yeah. So.
And not to toot our own horns, but toot. Okay. Dude, that's like the most common feedback we get from retreat participants.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like,
wow, we thought we knew you guys. We were called. We were, your on-screen authenticity is what made us come to the retreat. And we came and, your real life presence affirmed it. That's, which is like the biggest compliment I feel like it's one of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten. It was like, wow, that's humbling. Wow, that's how it comes off. Like that's how we think it comes off because that's what we're doing.
We are
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if you made it this far into the video, guys, and you're not subscribed to the channel, give us a subscription, hit the button, subscribe, give us a thumbs up on the video. And if you're interested in the retreat, click the link below. We've got a retreat coming up in, a few months. It's August 30th through September 7th. Got a holiday mix in there, so you don't have to use as much of your vacation. But if you do want to enjoy an adventure, a relaxing vacation, meet some cool people, learn some amazing traditions and culture, and enjoy this beautiful nature, fresh, clean air, organic food, click the link below. We'd love to see you down here for it.
Yeah, and just kind of the main, maybe not the main, but I'll say that the main thing, of sort of what the retreat can do for you is it's just, if this vibe is interesting to you, like of what this place has, it's a way to experience a ton of that in a very compressed amount of time. So it's like what would normally take you 6 months of trial and error and learning and trying to figure it out and, making mistakes and getting scammed and, all that kind of stuff. Like what would take, or longer, whatever it is. You get that, because we've been here so long and we understand this place, it's like you get the layers opened to you as much as we can. I mean, some of it is up to the individual's perception, but you get the layers open to you in a 9-day period where you're gonna sort of learn those first 3 years or whatever of learning curve. Now again, you may not remember it all. Some of it'll sink in, some of it won't. But you have that opportunity. Like it's there to really open the layers of this place in a profound way in a very short period of time, which then allows you to say like yes or no on something. Okay, this is a place I want to be at, or I want to explore further, or like no, this is not what I'm looking for.
Right. And that's the design intention of the retreat. Yeah, that's it. And don't take our word for it. Click the link below. Check out We Travel. Look at all the reviews from past participants. Those are their words, not ours. So check them out if you're interested.
Yeah. All right. Well, we should actually wrap up here in a couple minutes. We got a phone call coming up.
Do we? Is it that time?
Just about.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess I was expecting it to be earlier if we would have started on time.
I know. Whose fault was that?
It's all of our faults.
Because you're me and I'm you.
I'm you and you're me and we are one.
No Diddy.
Dude, are you following any of that stuff?
Not really.
I keep seeing tweets from some guy that I must be have followed on Twitter because it's in my either for you or I don't know, whatever one of the feeds is. And he's like giving updates, and I haven't done any corroboration on whether this is just Twitter nonsense or if this is stuff happening in the case. But there's like some stuff coming up about Cassie and like a lot of gross stuff that sounds like it's coming out about.
Yeah, I mean it's beautiful, Diddy, dude. It's like the whole facade of everything is collapsing, and I think he's one of those early dominoes, as Epstein was, and as other people have been as well. I mean, even R. Kelly and like whatever.
R. Kelly.
But yeah, I mean, Diddy's connected to everyone, and you know, they'll probably a lot of it will be hidden, like the Epstein stuff, but also a lot of it gets out regardless, and it's like it's part of the process. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
That's with all of it, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's all happening regardless.
Yeah, stuff's happening.
Right.
I don't know what is actually happening.
Well, I'm twirling this bottle cap.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's happening.
Not actually, though.
It's like twiddling your thumbs.
Because you're not actually touching anything in this reality.
No. That's right.
Ah, Jesus.
It didn't happen. Not in this reality.
That was a relatively good one.
It didn't happen. I didn't touch you.
It felt like you did.
I didn't touch him.
Totally felt like you did. All right, guys. It's been real. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't done that. Subscribe to the channel. Share with your friends and colleagues and significant others and anyone else you would like to share with. What is it?
We hope to see you down here one day.
So until then.
See you next time, guys.
Take care, guys.
Ciao.
Bye. Jaman. I have no idea what we're talking about today, by the way.
Well, we're going to talk about the Knicks. We're going to talk about Juan Soto and the Mets.
Oh, yeah, it's looking a little rough at the moment.
Dude, I know they're giving him, like, the narrative.
How do I make this not turn off? How do I make the screen stay on?
What?
How do I make the screen just not, like, auto shut off? Tried to do that mid-pod last time. It did not work. I know I'm not exactly a chat GPT expert, but I do like that I can just ask it random questions like that and it tells me.
It's wild that it's funny that I know you got into ChatGPT like way after I did.
Yeah.
Because I can see like when you're like, I got all this stuff done.
Oh, it's so funny. I mean, I've only, it's not true. I've only actually used it for one thing.
Well, it does help in a lot of things if you really want.
No, I know. I need to like figure it out.
I have no idea, dude. Zoom screen, no.
Right, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT.
Yeah. It's got to be in like the screen settings, right?
I mean, they told you pretty clearly though, like I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. But they told you pretty clearly.
Yeah, I don't know. Dude.
You know what the Open AI and all that, which is ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They told you pretty clearly what that's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's another one of those impossible choices.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
To use it somehow, to rationalize a way, a reason,
right.
a moral way to use it.
Well, which there are.
Well, there are rationalizations for. No, it's the same thing with, Neuralink, man. Oh, dude, that blind guy
100%.
can see. That paraplegic
100%.
can walk, dude. Holy shit, yes. Who am I to say take that away from him or her?
Right.
But I think people like us, we go through the steps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hold on.
Did you find
I gotta remember this. Settings, display and brightness, auto lock, never. Settings, display and brightness.
Display and brightness. I was looking for screen.
Settings.
Display is the right word.
Settings, display and brightness, auto lock. It's already on never.
Oh.
Maybe it was. Anyways, what were you saying?
I don't remember.
So what are they telling us by downgrading the U.S.'s credit rating? See that?
Yeah.
Moody.
Yeah,
I think Moody's is the reason we didn't have a financial crisis in 2008, isn't it?
Oh, we did have a financial right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was just talking about this with some buddies because it's like the rating agencies are in on this stuff.
Of course. But that's what I mean.
So you have a tacit downgrade because that's the narrative they want, right? Because where does
the narrative they want, or something they're signaling, or both?
Both. I mean, they need. It's just like everything else. They need people to beg for it. They need people to want it. So, right, the same underlying concepts of, what's going to bring on the rally of all rallies that aligns with this global liquidity trend is quantitative easing and liquidity injections. So when they do stuff like this, and they can do it much faster now, and they have been, things are happening faster in that way, or they appear to be, then they can do that sooner, right? There's a narrative now running around that, a bond auction failed, a U.S. Treasury auction, 20-year Treasury auction failed. That's running everywhere on Twitter. The bond auction failed, that means, so essentially the narrative is that the U.S., there weren't enough buyers, so the U.S. is buying its own debt, which we've been doing. Forever. It's just not been in the public Treasury visibility, direct visibility that way, right? Yeah. So, but that narrative is now, a couple days ago, the 20-year Treasury auction failed. So I looked into it. No, it didn't freaking fail. The bid to cover ratio on average I looked at 10-year, 20-year, 30-year Treasuries. It's well over 2, over 2.5. Sometimes closer to 3, 2.8.
2.8, what are we talking about?
The bid to cover ratio. I mean, there's more bids
the bid
to cover the, right. Yep. This one, they called it a fail because it was at 1.4.
There was low demand.
But 1.4.
Still more buyers than sellers.
Right? So again, but the narrative, if you don't actually take that step and do what I just did, and you go on Twitter, you're going to see people talking about a bond auction fail, and that's going to, now that story runs, and they downrated the credit, and
it's the endless split of realities.
Yeah. So is it meaningful? Sure, it means something. It means something, right?
Did you see the Trump South African president?
Yeah. Dude.
That's so funny. I mean, I didn't know if we could beat the Zelensky presser as the funniest thing I've ever seen on TV as it relates to politics.
Which was good.
This might have beat it.
I didn't watch it.
It was as good.
Was it really? I should watch the whole thing then.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
No, Zelensky was more Zelensky was probably better. But this was very good. Yeah. Very good.
I was just having this conversation too actually I had it in the comments on our YouTube channel, and I had it with some friends. Trump, the Trump phenomenon it's pretty fascinating, man. Because it's not only is he so polarizing and the most popular person on the planet by orders of magnitude.
Popular in terms of well-known.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, how else do you define popular?
I don't know. Just popular not in terms of well-liked.
Not positive. No, no, because that's the point, right? Yeah. He's polarizing. So you have ultra-conservative MAGA Republicans that Trump lives rent-free in their heads, right? Because he's the white knight, idol savior, right? And then on the other side, the other extreme, in the progressive, ultra-liberal, he lives Trump lives rent-free in their heads as the
devil.
TDS Hitler, right? I don't. Yeah. So it's just
the worst human
and
honor.
On the extremes, and then there's people in the middle, but even everybody else has an opinion about him, has an opinion about Trump.
100%.
And then there's a small few that, of course, I have an opinion too, but more importantly for me, I'm entertained. Dude, it is so entertaining for me. It is wholeheartedly entertaining because my opinion is that it's kabuki theater, and it's been that, and I still think it is, and it's entertaining. And yes, are things going to happen and things change, blah, 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 yes. But as a political figure, it is kabuki theater in my opinion, and it is entertainment we've not seen.
I agree.
It's like we've not seen before.
Yeah.
The entertainment value is
the entertainment value is off the charts.
Off the charts, dude. It's better than almost any show on TV.
Yeah.
You can't make it up. You can't write a script. You're right. You send the script to Hollywood, and they tell you,
when somebody's able to just say truth, truth, in a sort of, in a way that works, like just in a powerful way.
Yeah.
You know that like energetic pause that happens as it sort of hits everybody? Do you know what I'm talking about with that or no? Just in general, in life? Yeah. So like, I think Trump does that all the time. Like, I think he tells the truth, and it's like, there's all these moments. It happened in the South African presser, where it was like, he's like, yeah, but, and he like says the truth of what's happening, and you could just feel the whole room just being like, oh, fuck, like.
Yeah, no, he does, of course he does. Yeah. I mean, I think most politicians do have a version of that.
Do you?
Sure. Of truth, of subtle, profound truth. That's why they're where they are.
That's why how they get where they're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I guess Obama
was a genius
had
at
some
it,
of
too.
that. Yeah, but it was like, it was very, it was less than skin deep, and it was ultimately became very clear that it was total.
Well, and that's the irony, right? That the things in the maybe.
Like, I don't think Bush had that.
Yeah, that's a different story. Yeah, I don't know what he had. Yeah.
Like Reagan had
nepotism. Reagan had it for sure. Clinton had it, yeah. But that's kind of the irony. Like maybe the only things in life that are simple and clear is the truth.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, well, that's for me, like, we've had this conversation 1,000 times, but that's what I love about the Trump phenomenon, is because I think he is that flashpoint of division for people, because he's saying the truth all the time.
Yeah.
And
he says a lot of truth, I would say.
And so, like, you have to, like, to hate him, for example, you have to convince yourself that Elon Musk and RFK and all these people who 6 months ago you loved are now the devil.
Yeah.
Like, you have to do that in order to hate him.
Yeah,
I think that's valuable.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's those concepts, hurt by love, but healed by the same. Timing is everything.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I don't know that song, but that's a good quote.
but like, what are those things that are lessons, are obstacles to overcome? Are things that are meant to challenge your school of thought, your discipline, your resolve, or things that are there to make you pivot, right? So, it's like, how do you, which of these for Trump and his cabinet or any of these people we're talking about are, hey, yes, I liked them 6 months ago. I like some of these things, even though you didn't like some of the other things that they said too, or some of the things Kennedy,
Yeah, but
did
I'm
or
just
didn't
saying,
do.
this is real quick though, I'm just saying, like, Elon Musk is, like, the left and the green movement and the environmental movement.
Yeah.
Theoretically, Elon Musk should be a hero. I mean, he's like the electric car guy.
Yeah, he is now, right.
And
they vilified him. Right, though that's an extreme example.
RFK also, I mean, he's an environmental attorney who's championed liberal causes
who
forever.
Sued the EPA.
Probably a million times.
Right, yeah.
And is like a health guy. Is that not the the left's, like, anyway?
Well, those definitions have changed.
Right, big time, yeah.
I would just say there are certain things that, some things are, there are things that are signs to pivot and signs to overcome. So, like one of the things for me, like, for example, Dan Bongino, right?
That's right.
Dan Bongino and Patel Cash.
Yeah.
Okay, Cash Patel. Yeah, no, Patel Cash, bro.
Okay. Patel, Cash.
I watched a series with Hamish Patel. I think he was the guy who was in the Beatles movie Let It Be a few years ago. Anyway, it's called Station 11. It's a mini-series, 10 episodes. Really well done. Really uplifting. Very uplifting. It's an uplifting look at the end of the world.
I like
uplifting.
I like the end of the world.
Very well done, very deep, character arcs are impeccable, and the art that they intertwine it synergistically with Hamlet and Shakespeare.
Oh, cool.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful series. Anyway,
Cash Patel and Bongino.
Patel Cash.
Bongino.
No, but so for me, one of the big narratives, you know, even before Trump was reelected, was, you know, the pedophile island and Jeffrey Epstein and all that stuff, and the connections to you know who and you know where and everybody else in Hollywood and politics everywhere, right? And you have guys like, you know, on the team, you know, like this is the biggest story and we got to get to the bottom and we can't stop. And now all of a sudden they're both coming out saying, Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, guys.
Look, I saw the file. He
killed himself. It's like, no, what? Like, so what happened? Like, what happened? What did clearly they learned something new.
They were so uncomfortable too. And
right?
They were like looking at each other and they're like.
So what, right? So that's the kind of stuff where, to me, you know, you have to really be in tune and spend a lot of time to understand, like, what are these signs to, you know, like, I like Bongino 6 months ago, so I still like him even though he said, no, like, no, dude, this one is like a line in the sand for me.
Yeah.
He didn't kill himself.
I'm sure it is for a lot of people.
You know, I don't know. So that, whatever that means, that's kind of what I mean about some of that. It's like more nuanced.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's all, or you mentioned, you mentioned Hamlet, that made me think of it. Everything that's playing out, like everything, it's all just like archetypes and motifs and like just repeating forever. All of it.
Yeah.
Whether you're talking about the gods or the planets or then the people on Earth or then all the stories that we create and the battles and the old things we overcome and the deception.
Right.
It's just the same thing over and over and over and over again. And there's something for everybody. And there's something for everybody in everything. So, you know, depending on, you know, Trump and Bongino and Epstein and all of it. But,
yeah, there's nothing new under the sun. These cycles repeat. You know, that's where that all comes from, man. Yeah. And that's where that's where some of these models, we've talked about the fourth turning and those models.
Yeah.
And you can see that. I mean, that's why those stories are, I mean, that's why they're archetypal.
Yeah. Or is it archetypal?
I don't know.
Archetypal? Yeah.
Is it archetypal?
No, I agree. That's right. I say archetypal.
I like archetypal.
It's closer to like.
If it's wrong, I like it better anyway. I don't care. Just because it rhymes with nipple.
Right. I couldn't think of it. I was going to say, like, that's just because, and I was going to say that, but I couldn't think of the word in that moment, and I lost it.
Because I'm 8.
Yeah. My son, Jacob, decided that his favorite college basketball team is Butler.
Awesome.
The word butt in it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good, man. Butts and farts, man.
He thinks it's really funny. He's like, Butler, Butler, Butler.
Yeah, it's so good. Man, it's so funny, like more than you know.
When's Butler gonna be on? They are riding horses.
Where?
Behind you. Where they're walking horses.
Oh. Hey, Tiff, where's Quinn? Hi. How's the ride? Good. You can let him know, Tiff. Yeah. So sports, dude, huh? What are you? Butler, your favorite? Has he seen Butler play?
No,
he's not.
It was probably during March Madness, which I didn't really watch any of this year. I don't even know if Butler was in it, but somehow they got mentioned, and he was like, his ears perked up. He was like, Butler? He was like, what's that?
Really?
I'm like, it's a college. So, dude.
What's up, dude?
And since then, yeah.
Did you fart?
Is this what you put on the floor,
Did
bro?
you fart?
I already saw you put something
You
on the floor.
farted?
I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh!
I thought you were taking pills or something.
Did you fart? Did he fart?
Yeah.
Smell it? Oh.
I love how funny you think you are.
What are you talking about? You're the one talking about butts and farts, and then it starts stinking. I know, we smelt it, dealt it, but I smell it, and it's not from me.
I'm glad you got out in front of the who smelled it, told it.
Whoa. What is that, dude?
Well, what's under your foot? Man?
I have no idea.
Oh.
What it... Oh!
Jesus.
Oh! Oh!
I think the wind's going to you.
Oh!
But you just got whatever that is on my leg.
Oh! What is that? Quinn, what is that?
It's a fart bomb.
A fart bomb? It stinks.
I'm thinking you put him up to this, Quinn. Or actually, probably not.
Oh!
He probably put
Gross.
They're mine. My grandpa gave me
It wasn't supposed to pop.
It's not supposed to pop?
No, I think all the chemicals are in your skin now.
Yeah, I think so. I just had...
Dad, the chemicals got in my eye.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Gross. Here, I need you to take this and go throw it out and wash your hands after. Upstairs somewhere. Yeah, it's bad.
I didn't really catch it.
Well, I caught it. It's not good.
Got the scorers table going on over here.
Right.
Oh, this weather is spectacular.
It's beautimous.
All right.
Dude, that was so good. Like,
What?
we had it set up. So Fernando was in on it. We were trying to find a way to transition. I'm like, something will come up. I'll find it. And then all of a sudden, you teed it up. And then I'm supposed to message Tiff and she's sending him down. And then I could hear it. I'm like, oh no, why isn't she answering? Where is he at?
That's funny.
Yeah.
It wasn't very well executed.
Hey, you teed it up though.
I did tee it up.
It's the what do they call it? The what that counts? The thought, yeah. It could have been funny. Oh, man.
All right.
You want to do this?
I want to take a nap.
Dude, you don't want to sleep during this time of day.
So, a little 20-minute in and out.
Yeah, Ide's told me that's more like 30 seconds, but...
Okay. Took me a minute there. I was like, what? I only sleep for 30 seconds?
If it took you a minute, she'd be like, oh my God! Where did my husband go?
Okay, bro.
And you think you're funny.
No.
Oh, man. Whew. That's good stuff right there. Good stuff. Okay, let's check this out real quick here. Oh, fuck, dude. You gonna make it?
It's just like what I got going on right now in the mornings. It's just it's too much.
It sounds like fun.
It's just and I'm like, you know how I am with time and all that. It's like even when I'm on it, I'm always on it, but when I'm on it and I think I'm ahead, I'm not. There's a trap door somewhere.
Yeah. I kind of sensed that today. That's why I sent the note in the podcast thread.
Yeah.
Like, are we still on for 11:30? And then I saw the thumbs up, and I'm like, I kind of don't think so. Sometimes I have like a sixth sense for this stuff. Because what time did you show up?
Like
12:30?
This is a little fruity, but so you sent that song, which I didn't click on, but just the title was the point.
Yeah.
Send me on my way. And so I'm like, okay. So you're just way more psychic than you give yourself credit for. Because I'm like, all right. I was in a little bit of a tizzy at that moment. Like I was at a 10 out of 10 on the frustration scale.
Really?
At that moment. And just not at anybody, just like it had been a
self-developmental morning.
The morning had taken its toll. And then you send this song, and I'm like, okay, that's Brandon's
Powerful anti-mosquito device.
That's Brandon's psychic capacity. Like he knows he knows where I'm at mentally, so he's sending me this song.
You know the song, right?
And then I don't. And then
dude.
And then hold on. And then yeah, so that's like yeah, it's a little fruity, but that's that's your psychic capacity. And then my psychic capacity, like knowing what you're doing.
right. You know how I know you're gay?
Right, exactly.
Dude, this is the song. You know this?
I don't.
On my way. On my way.
Sounds like it should be like in The Little Mermaid.
It was in Ice Age.
Yeah, right.
I mean, but way after the fact. This is like a 20-year-old song.
Yeah. I feel like that crab should, or whatever it was, should be singing. Kiss the girl. Right.
You don't know the song, really? Is this like before your time? This is probably...
I don't really...
Hold on, just wait till the hook.
I really recognize it. I feel like I've heard it.
Wait till the hook. Baby say, baby yum. I would like to hold my little hand. We will cry, we will. Send me on my way. 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 Ooh. Dude, you can't be in a bad mood and listen to that song.
No, that's like all your music.
You can't. Well, here's your sign.
Yeah. What were you saying about life simpler than you make it?
Dude, think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that.
What, life's simpler than you?
Think of how simple
Yeah.
it actually can be.
I do think about that, and it just pisses me off because I do overcomplicate it.
And not you. I mean, we do. Everybody does.
Yeah.
We all do. But man, if we just authentically be ourselves.
That's it. Yeah.
That's number one. Well, have an open mind. Authentically be yourself. Have an open mind. Be kind to everyone.
Yeah.
Right? Surround yourself with good people.
Yeah.
Love your family.
You got a list there?
Yeah. Chase your dreams and never give up. That's it. I mean, that's it.
No, it's true.
That's really it, man.
It's true.
It's that simple.
And the first one is like
well, that sets the tone.
key to the whole thing, yeah.
And that's the hardest one.
Right. By far.
Yeah.
That's the box we're all trying to break out of fully.
Yeah. I don't know.
Limiting beliefs and limiting feelings and limiting subconscious and limiting.
Yeah. That's what's. There was an interesting concept in the Station 11 miniseries. So there's the event. I'm not going to give you. There's the event, and then there's the before and the after, right? From the event. And some may call that the singularity. I don't even know what you would, but there's an event, there's the before, the after, and then there's people born after the event.
Yeah.
Children born after the event, and there's like a narrative that this is the first generation in history that was born without trauma. Yeah, see, now you want to watch it.
A little more intrigued.
Right. Well, it's really well done. The acting, everything that you would want it in like production values there.
Yeah.
The acting, I would say for most characters is A+. And the storyline is both deep and complex, but synergistic, and the way they intertwine, some of the concepts we talk about with, spirituality and consciousness and belief systems and the matrix and all of that, and collapse and singular and all this, and then with narrative and community and art and hope and then intertwined with with Shakespeare and the Traveling Symphony, it's fucking it's genius, dude. It's genius. It's awesome. I would say
Symphony 11.
It's called Station 11.
Station 11.
Yeah. I would recommend. It's only like 10 episodes.
Episodes, yeah.
Dude, it's like 10.
Maybe if you just got a little work done instead of all those episodes.
You work 2 hours a day.
It's 2 hours more than you.
And an hour and 49 minutes of that is telling ChatGPT stuff.
I wish. What was
Station 11. It's on
Station
HBO Max.
11
Or you could probably find it. Or you can log into my HBO Max.
episodes? I don't think I'm ever gonna watch this, but
Dude, you should
it
watch
sounds
it.
good.
It's very good. It's very well. I don't know. I already said enough about it.
The only possible way I could ever watch this is if it replaced the Mets games,
Oh, right. Yeah, that's where.
time-wise.
Right. That's where I watch it when the kids go to bed, and generally if I'm bored with if the Cubs are already off or if there's no baseball.
The kids going to bed is like either I'm asleep because I'm finished,
Yeah.
or I'm working. That's like the work. If I'm awake, I'm working.
Yeah, this is like 11 o'clock. I'll watch an episode from like 11:30 to 12:30 and knock out.
Yeah. But you sleep a little bit in the morning, right? You're not up at like 5, 6.
Yeah,
Are you?
6. Yeah, the dogs, dude. They're up. They're like kids. They're like, if I wake up.
So you're like 4 or 5 hours type of thing?
5, yeah, not 6
works
hours.
for you? Yeah.
I mean, not really. Not well. No.
Yeah, it doesn't
I
work
could
well
use
for me.
less sleep than Tiff. Like Tiff's like an 8-hour kind of, 7-hour. That's tough. 6 hours, forget it. You know, like I'm good with way less sleep, but I'm not optimal by any means.
Yeah.
But the dogs are they're like little kids, man. Like if I wake up, I have to pretend to move slowly and not open my eyes. If I like move fast or even peek an eye open, they're like, oh, like right away. But if I move slow and keep my eyes closed, or if I just do it, I can see them like look, and then they're like, oh no, not yet. And then they just kind of lay back down again. So it's like this game.
Because they just want to go out, basically, right?
Well, yeah, they just want
play.
attention. Yeah, they're still like 8 months old, so they're still
yeah.
puppies. And
No, my sleep schedule's terrible. Pattern is terrible. I alternate nights. So like one night I'll be up either I'll be up late or I'll wake up at like 2 or 3 and then just hit it then because I know I got like 2-3 hours before the kids get up. So then like that day I'm okay. I'm like a little tired, but I'm fine. But then that night, then I'll get a good night. Like I'll fall asleep with the kids early.
Right.
And then I'll kind of catch up. And then the next night I'll have a little energy, so then I'll do it again. So it's like every other. It's almost every other. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have. So now with the kids my age, Bella's.
No, your kids can sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not going to bed early.
Right. You don't have that time. Yeah.
Right.
But they don't need as much either. But,
no.
Yeah.
No, but it's still like.
Yeah, they need stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like it's not like it's just. Yeah, that's why I told you last week. Like I was done with being an adult. I just make decisions with the eeny, meeny, miny, mo method and settle disputes with.
I'm even having that problem with my 6-year-old now. It's like they used to go to bed, both of them, by like 7 or 8. They were both out. Now Jacob's more like 8, 9, sometimes even 9:30. And that's like crushed my couple of hours, or my few hours,
Yeah.
And it's like I can't, he's not like he's okay. He doesn't really need to go to bed earlier, so I can't like force it.
Yeah, and he's still getting up that early though.
Yeah, they're up early, man. Like if they sleep till 7, that's like a celebration. They're very often it's like somewhere between like 5:45 and 6:30 is like most common. I mean, at least one of them will be up by then, and often both. Even last night, like they went to bed super late. I was at my dad's visiting, and I was there until we watched the game there.
Oh, they're here. I was wondering when you were talking about your dad
earlier.
I'm like, did he just message you at that time?
No, we're sitting there watching the game, and both him and Flo are like going back and forth about how it's over and the Knicks won. And, like,
that's
and I'm just
so funny, dude.
Yeah. So we watched, we stayed there until late. And then, so the kids were like, that's as late. They never stay up that late. It was probably like 10:30 or something. Because it was overtime and everything. 11 probably before they went to bed. Probably 11:30 before they went to bed.
Oof.
And I was expecting like a little bit of sleep this morning. And JoJo did. He made it to like, he made it past 7. Like he made it maybe close to 8. But Jacob was up by like 6:45.
Oof.
Dude.
Well, you make them run around, make them run laps, take them to the playground, make them run around, let them knock out early tonight.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, JoJo will knock out when he's tired. Like, both of them actually are pretty good. Like, they'll just go to sleep when they're tired.
Yeah.
But, like, JoJo, that could be in the middle of the day still sometimes. Like, he'll just get tired and just lay down.
Yeah, and he'll knock out anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
In any amount of sound.
It's funny. Like, he's much more Ecuadorian. Like, you know how Ecuadorians can sleep, like, anywhere? And if you look at his body type, he has the like broad back, shorter legs.
Yeah.
Like he's more like got the Ecuador, and Jacob's more like my body structure.
Right, interesting. Oh, that's funny.
And JoJo's more like, he's a little bit more Ecuadorian in the way he thinks and like goes about his life. He's much more just like direct and like bull in a china shop type of like just do it. It's interesting, but yeah. All right, let's roll here because we gotta call with Milton at 2.
Call?
It turned into a call.
Why?
He said he couldn't make it to, he didn't make it to Vilca.
Oh, man. All right, let's do it.
So World War II, huh?
You want more, Fernando?
Yeah.
Yeah. World War II.
World War II was just to get rid of the old buildings, nothing else. Great Israel.
Perhaps there's something to that, huh?
Nah. No, sí, sí. Solo que no quería que estaba enfrente de la cama.
Yeah, finish it, yeah.
All right. Hello and welcome back to the Ecuador Insider Podcast.
Hey guys, we're here in Vilcabamba with the Abundant Living team. To learn more about our next retreat, click the link in the description down below. From our family to yours, welcome to Vilcabamba.